Good morning and welcome to our second session of Take 5.
Good morning.
Our second session this morning is focusing on another sense, the sense of sight, of seeing. And there's lots of references in the Bible about seeing physically and spiritually. And obviously we can't touch on them all, so we're just going to dip in just for a little while, for 5 minutes.
It says in 2 Corinthians that we live by faith and not by sight. And also, if we read a little story in John's Gospel, there's a very famous story there about a man called Bartimaeus, the blind beggar. And apparently Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem when suddenly Bartimaeus cried out, Son of David, have pity on me." Well, to call anyone the son of David in those days was to give them a very high honour. Jesus stopped in his tracks and turned and went to the man. And he went up to him and he discovered that this man obviously had more sight, even though he was blind, than most people at the time, because he'd actually got perception and he actually saw and recognised something in Jesus that was astounding. He recognised his messiahship. And as a result of his acting upon that faith, the man got healed of his blindness. And so we live by faith and not by sight. And
that reminds me of another story after Jesus' resurrection, and he came and he visited the disciples. And Thomas, who wasn't there, when he heard about this, he said, unless I put my hands into the nail prints and my hand into his side, he couldn't believe. And a week later, Jesus presented himself again and he said to Thomas, put your hand in my side, just put your fingers in the nail prints. And he said, because you have seen and believed, blessed are those who haven't seen and yet believe. We do live by faith and not by sight.
Yeah, it comes down to a person's worldview and how we see the external world, how we perceive things. And it's interesting, this point, because there's a saying that most people know that seeing is believing. And indeed it is. But somehow, the Bible and the teachings of Jesus and this whole spiritual truth that we're trying to get over, it seems to turn everything on its head. For instance, it's okay to get proof and to have to see before you believe things, and this is how the world works, fine. But faith doesn't work that way. Apparently it works the other way around. In other words, it's a case of believing that we might see. And once that takes place, and once that is put into practice, and that comes, of course, through the born-again experience of having Jesus living within by the power of the Holy Spirit, once that happens, then it's almost as if we start to live life in a totally different framework completely. And this is the born-again experiences. This is the spiritual life that we're trying to point out in this account. All right.
I suppose, though, doubting is not a bad thing, because that leads to questioning things. And it's good to question things. We're all born spiritually blind until we're born again, when things are revealed to us. Jesus is revealed to us in a real way.
Yeah.
And I suppose people who have doubts, I'm bringing the Alpha course in now, it would be, it's a good thing to join an Alpha group to ask questions, to open your eyes to what's the truth, and the truth sets you free. And even the people, everyone, it says in Revelation, every eye will see him and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. So everyone's eyes will be open one day, even those who are spiritually blind. Now 5 minutes is up, Rex, and that's really gone fast again.
Yeah.
So just one last thing. What do you believe is in here?
Well, because I have faith in the best cook in the world, obviously, I don't have to see what's in there. By faith, I know what's in there. You see, I can see in there's something wonderful that's going to be a piece of cake.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure of that, because I believe by faith and not by sight. But in a minute, I'm hoping to believe by sight.
There we
Thank
go.
you very much.
That's his cake for this week.
Cake. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a good
And
day.
you never know, some of it might have to go
over
the garden wall.
Bye.
Bye.